This is the Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Parramatta Leagues Club, home of the Eels, and also home of Jack's Pale Ale.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and it is the game review podcast of the Eels versus the Titans that was played at Commbank Stadium on Sunday, the 22nd of June, in front of a crowd of 8,074 fans. Now, it was a cold, chilly Sunday night. It was the late game, 6:15 p.m. game due to under-19s origin on Thursday night, and also the State of Origin on Wednesday night. So that was the reason for the late Sunday game, and also these two teams were at the bottom of the ladder as well. So traditionally, I guess the Titans don't have much of a following in New South Wales in terms of pulling crowds, at least anyway. And look, it was always going to be difficult to get a crowd out at Commbank Stadium in those conditions, and also on that time slot as well, as it is for every club as well. But considering these two clubs were at the bottom of the ladder, it was always going to be difficult. Look, it was a 36 points to 20 win to the Parramatta Eels. It was 6 tries to 4 in the end, and Zach Lomax 6 from 6 conversions. Now, a lot of people were telling me or asking me or saying to me last night, oh, he can kick for Parramatta 6 out of 6, and most of them were pretty much, most of them were pretty much sort of easy range, but even his outside, outside the sideline kicks he got as well. But for New South Wales, he can't kick them. Well, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? And he got his kicking boots back, and it was 6 from 6 from Zach Lomax. Will Penasini served a sin binning in the 78th minute, so he was able to get off early and get into a nice hot shower before the rest of the guys, but he will be facing 3 weeks on the sideline for a grade 2 dangerous throw, which did look really bad as well. I'm sure he will be disappointed about that in the end. He also did score 2 tries as well, the 2 last tries of the game. So one was from a Zach Lomax pass after a catch from a Dean Hawkins bomb, and Dean Hawkins, he played really well too, I thought, last night against the Titans, stepping in for Mitchell Moses, who will be out for another 4 weeks or so with that calf injury that he suffered in Origin training camp for game number 2. And I thought Dean Hawkins, he was probably, look, a lot of people did say Isaiah Iongi as the best player of the game last night for Parramatta, and look, I would not disagree with that one. He did have an outstanding game, was safe under the high ball. He did have a dip in, I guess you could say, confidence, because he did throw that cutout pass which led to Cam Pereira's intercept try, but in saying that, he was trying something. If the pass came off, it was a try to Zach Lomax, so that, unfortunately, that didn't happen, but still, he ran for 178 metres off 21 runs, 46 post-contact meters. But look, he was there in defence as well at the back, and he is developing into one great fullback, that is for sure. I think only about 15 or so games into, it could even be 14 games, because Parramatta's had 2 byes this year. He played one for Penrith Panthers last year, so 15 games into his career. So he is consistently learning, and he will only get better. And look, it is a bit of a breath of fresh air at the back there, having speed and young, exuberant fullback than what we had with Clint Gutherson. Not to say Clint didn't serve the jersey well, but it's just great to see someone like Isaiah really grabbing his opportunity in first grade, and I think he will be the Parramatta fullback for a long time to come. There was a lot of debate at the start of the year whether Joash Papali would be the fullback or whether Isaiah would be. Isaiah got the first shot at the first crack at it, and he hasn't looked back since round number 1, and has only got better each and every week, and has consistently been one of those top performers, and actually leads the Paracave Podcast Eels Player of the Year award, which you will see on Instagram. You'll see the posts up there after each and every game. When I asked the question from you guys who your top 3 Eels players were of the match. Now, the Gold Coast, they actually scored the first try in the game through Jamin Jolliffe. Now, it was a little bit of a soft try, you could say, because it was right up the middle of the pack, and I just was sitting there and I thought, oh no, here we go. 3 minutes in and they've already got a try. This is not looking good. But I did have faith in the guys to come back. I did think that the Titans would score points, so I just didn't think they'd be scoring first. But and as easy as what they did. But the Eels, they came back in the 11th minute with a try to Sean Russell. And look, we'll just go... he played a pretty good game, scored that try. He also chased down Khan Pereira as well from the other side of the field. So, look, that is no easy feat as well. Look, he probably was never going to get him, but just the anticipation of just running over and just trying to make Khan Pereira score out wide and make it a difficult kick was a good thing from Sean Russell there. And look, he did run for 113 metres, 11 runs. Also, he made 18 tackles, only missing 1 tackle. And we'll just go to a question now from Mr. Mullet, which was on the hotline that I put out the post. So we'll go to that question now.
Yeah, Troy. Just want to know what your thoughts on Sean Russell are. Obviously great in attack, but a bit of a weakness in defence.
And look, what I will say about that one is, look, Sean Russell, he comes under a lot of criticism, I think, from fans, and I think at times it is unfair criticism. As Mr. Mullet said in that, great in attack, did score a try. He's a pretty handy goal kicker sometimes as well for the Eels when Zach Lomax and Mitch Moses aren't playing as well. I remember him, I think it was against the Dolphins, he nailed one from about 45 metres out, I think it was. It was straight on. I think that one was just before half-time, which was a good thing for him and the side at the time. But in terms of defence, well, he is playing inside Josh Addo-Carr, and I think that is a good thing because Josh is obviously an experienced winger. He is a good communicator. Look, he has been found out a few times this season, but centre hasn't been the position that he has played most of his football in first grade at. He has played wing most of the time, but over the last 3 years he has probably played more centre than wing, with the injuries to Bailey Simonson as well of recent anyway, and Zach Lomax moving to the wing this year. He obviously started on the wing. Sean Russell started on the wing, and Zach Lomax was in the centres, but that has now switched around. So, look, he's only getting better. I think he played 54 games in his career, so he's getting that more experience under his belt. It's still a lot to work on, and I dare say that Sean will probably think that himself as well, that there's always work to work on at training, and I think just playing inside Josh Adokar is a good thing because, as I said, Josh is a good communicator, and I think that edge defence especially has probably improved this season under Jason Riles, but also having that experience of Josh Adokar on the wing as well. The edge defence, as we all know, the edge defence for Parramatta can be at times a bit worrying and concerning and left wide open, and teams expose that. But I think this year it has tightened up a little bit, which is a great thing to see. So thank you very much, Mr. Mullet, for your question. I really appreciate that one. And to all the other listeners out there, please stay tuned to the Instagram posts where I'll have the link, and I will post that after each and every game that we play to get your feedback about the game that is played. So if you would like to feature on the podcast, then please leave one of the voice messages just like Mr. Mullet did, and I will address it and it will get played on the podcast. So thank you for sending that one through. I might also do that one for like a questionnaire podcast as well, which I did I think last week as well, and you can send in your questions about the Eels or life or rugby league or state of origin, whatever, but stay tuned to the Instagram page for that one. But getting back to this game, and look, it was 18-16 at half time, and it was a very sort of up and down game. Parramatta got to a lead of, I think it was like 18-6, and then the Gold Coast, they came back and scoring a couple of tries as well. As I said, the second try actually that the Gold Coast scored was from Chris Randall. That was a missed tackle by Kit Kat, Kitione Kautoga, unfortunately, and then basically sort of ran up the middle again. So middle defence is something that probably needs to be worked on, that is for sure. And then the Khan Pereira try straight after that was the intercept try. But as I said, Isaiah Iongi is just getting more experience each and every week. So he will learn from that, and hopefully we won't see more intercepts from Isaiah Iongi. But look, Khan Pereira, he's a seasoned professional and has taken a few intercepts in his past. But look, it was a good thing that Sean Russell did chase him out wide as well. He was, as I said, he was never going to get there, but he did manage to keep him out wide. And look, what a try-scoring record for Khan Pereira. People have said that potentially, not saying that he will or not, but if he keeps on playing the way that he is and for as long as he has, and as long as what Alex Johnston has, who is about to break the try-scoring record, then this man, Khan Pereira, can probably give that a good shake. I think he scored something like 53 tries or 54 tries in 52 games or something like that. I'll check it up after this one, but it's something ridiculous like that. So practically scores a try every single game. So you can almost guarantee that he will score a try every single game. 18-16 at half time. Riley Smith, he started on the bench in this game. Joey Lussick was a late call-up, as was Charlie Guymer, and congratulations to Charlie Guymer. He got his first NRL try. It was the Eels' third try. And so AJ Brimson, he knocked the ball on, and Charlie Guymer, the competitor that he is, was there on the spot picked up the dregs and ran across the try line and put the ball down and scored. So that was his first NRL try. He was a late call-up into the game, and also the other late call-up, as I said, was Joey Lussick. Now, he scored a try from a dummy half, so some smart dummy half work there. Managed to crash over. That was in the 15th minute and got Parramatta the lead after the Gold Coast scored first and then Parramatta scored second, and then got them into the lead. So some smart play from Joey Lussick getting a try. And look, I think it was probably maybe a smart option to have Riley on the bench just to add that spark into the side when he came on about after 20 minutes or so. He copped a bit of a cut on his leg, and it looked at the time live at the game, it looked more than a cut. He looked like in all sorts. It looked like he had to come off and it'd be season over because he was hobbling around. It looked like he tried to run it out, but it looked like it was just a pretty bad cut. He himself, unfortunately, will be facing 2 weeks on the sideline. I think the Eels may try and challenge that, perhaps. It was a bit of there was 3 players involved in the tackle, and look, it probably didn't look good. It definitely didn't look good, but it wasn't as bad as what the Will Penasini tackle looked. That one did look worse, I must say. But look, so the Eels might challenge that one. We'll just have to wait and see. If they do challenge, they want to try and get a downgrade perhaps to a fine. But if they do challenge it and lose, then he could be facing 3 weeks on the sidelines. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that one. Dylan Walker, he has been proved to be a great mid-season signing. Just leads the team around a little bit when he comes on after about 25 minutes or so. Just gives the team a little bit of direction, another ball-playing option. And I must say, the try to Dean Hawkins, that in the second half, that was probably set up by Dylan Walker's quick play the ball. It was a lightning fast play the ball, and then Isaiah Iongi was able to kick the ball hit the post, and Dean Hawkins was on the spot. And as I said, I probably gave Dean Hawkins the man of the match, Isaiah Iongi second, 2 points, and Junior Paolo as well. He played really well, I thought. He was obviously up against his old mate, RCG, who returned to Commbank Stadium for the first time in opposition colours after he played for Parramatta. And look, I think we have seen it before with Junior. When he plays against these teams like Penrith, Parramatta, the Tigers, and against, say, RCG or the Titans, he loves the challenges of playing up against these his former teammates. And look, Junior, yeah, as I said, I gave him 1 point as well. There was a lot of fans that mentioned him as well as having a great game. 29 tackles, played 56 minutes, and 15 runs and 135 metres, 36 post-contact metres. So a real captain's knock. He was the captain without Mitchell Moses being on the field. And look, as I said, a good captain's knock there from Junior Paolo. Really, as I said, when he plays up against old teammates or those fierce rivals of Parramatta, he seems to step it up, because I don't know what it is, but of late, a bit of a slow start to the season, and maybe that could have been due to his new body shape, but he certainly later on in this season has played a lot better than what we saw at the start of the year. So well done to Junior. Will Penasini, as I said, scored 2 tries. One of them was from a pass from Zach Lomax after he caught a ball. The second try from Will, it went up to the video. It went up as no try. The bunker over called it and called it a try, but you could see that it did touch the ground. All the fans at the stadium saw that it did touch the ground as well. And it was one of those close calls. It was initially, it didn't look like he was going to get to the line. I think he was about 7 or 10 metres out from the line when he got sort of in a bit of a tackle battle. And it didn't look like he was going to get there, but somehow he got over the line and got the ball down and scored, and Zach Lomax converted, and that's where Parramatta got their 36 points in the 71st minute. So that was their final tally. So look, I think he will regret that tackle, obviously, as he will be spending time on the sidelines now. Look, who comes in for him? Well, I think probably Jordan Samrani will probably come in for Will Penasini. That's probably the obvious choice there. There has been talk that Dylan Brown may play centre as well. He has done that in the past for Parramatta. I think it was against Newcastle one day. I think it was 2022 up there in Newcastle. I think it was Anzac round in the infamous poppy flower jerseys, Anzac jerseys that Parramatta had at that time. One of the jerseys that most people didn't like. So I think he played centre on that day. So it'll be interesting to see what does happen there. Couple of options for coach Jason Riles. As for the hooker position, well, you'd probably think that Joey Lussick will probably be the starting hooker now, and potentially Brendan Hands might get a 14 jersey, or maybe even you might have Joash Papali be a 14 role as well. I think he did that a couple of games ago, where he was playing dummy half, I think. So there's a few options there. You could have Dylan Brown go back to 5/8, and that would force Joash onto the bench. That could be a good thing. Could spark a bit of lightness into the attack, running around the ruck with those big forwards in a game. We'll just have to wait and see. To some of the stats of the game, and look, the top tacklers, well, Kelma Tulagi, 40 tackles, along with Jack Williams as well, 40 tackles as well. Now, Kelma, I don't know how he did not score that first try of the game. I haven't seen a detailed replay of that, but that rugby league ball must have just bounced that wrong way when you went to go put it down, because you were there. I don't know how you didn't score, but as I said, it was probably the bounce of the ball. The rugby league ball that we see from time to time can bounce anywhere. But yeah, 40 tackles for him. Kitione Kautoga, 35. Jermaine Hopgood, 34. Joash Papali, in his first starting game as 5/8, 30 tackles, so a pretty fair effort there in defence from Joash. And look, he didn't do anything outstanding, I didn't think, in this game, but he just did his job. Some great passes thrown. He also, as I said there, 30 tackles, which is a pretty good stat there, to be honest, in his first starting game as 5/8. Only ran 5 times for 23 metres. Didn't really kick too much. He left that to Dean Hawkins. Only the one kick for 30 metres. But defence was the name of the game for him last night, but also his passing as well was. So a pretty fair effort from Joash with his game last night. So pretty proud of that one. I wonder where he'll be playing against the Dragons. In terms of running metres, the Fox, Josh Adokar, again, he was outstanding. 220 metres from 20 runs, 85 post-contact metres. Zach Lomax, well, we've come to expect that these days from him now. 211 metres, 25 runs, 80 post-contact metres. Kitione Kautoga, 192 metres, 16 runs, 99 post-contact metres. Isaiah Iongi, as I mentioned before, 178 metres, 21 runs, 46 post-contact metres. And Will Penasini, now, his run metres, they got up there because it was 178 metres from 13 runs, 29 post-contact metres. But there was one point there where the ball was shifted, I think, to the right at one stage. And he was jolly on the spot and managed to make a bit of a break. So his run meters got up there. So in terms of team stats, well, it went this way. Parramatta had 51% of the ball, the Gold Coast 49%. An extra, say, minute and a half to Parramatta, 29 minutes and 34 seconds. Completion rate, the Gold Coast actually had more sets and a better completion rate, 37 out of 45 for 82%. The Eels had 4 less sets, 33 out of 41 for an 80% completion rate. Post-contact metres, 662 for Gold Coast and 626 for Parramatta. More run metres for Parramatta. The one thing also that I found really interesting as well was the offloads as well from Parramatta. That was a good thing there, and I think that was Junior Paolo. He did a few of those as well, and as you can see, it was 14 offloads to the Gold Coast 4. So there were a lot of second phase play from the Parramatta Eels, which is always a good thing because you catch out the defensive team. It's effectively another tackle that they have to make in the set, and it tires them out more, to be honest. So great work there, but we've also come to know Parramatta to be an offloading team as well, especially when the opportunity is there. Missed tackles, 20 to Parramatta, 31 to the Gold Coast. 3 intercepts, which one of those led to a try to Cam Pereira for the Gold Coast. So penalties conceded, 5 for Parramatta, 1 to the Gold Coast. Parramatta made 2 more errors than the Gold Coast as well, but they got the result in the end. So congratulations to the Eels. That now gets them off second last place on the ladder. And look, it's not overly it's not much up that ladder. They now find themselves in 15th spot on the ladder, ahead of the Rabbitohs. They're on the same for and against, and they take on the Dragons down in Wollongong on Saturday afternoon, 5:30 p.m. For the Gold Coast, they are on 12 points on the bottom of the NRL ladder. They take on another struggling team next week, the North Queensland Cowboys, at Cbus Super Stadium. So that will be an interesting game there. 2 struggling sides going at it. Parramatta, a confidence-boosting win going into this Dragons game, a team who had the bye last week, but then previous to that had been struggling as well. So, look, Parramatta on 14 points. They are only 3 points out of the 8. They still have 1 bye to come. So this game against the Dragons is a crucial game because they play the Dragons and then they had the bye. So a crucial game for them. If they can get this win against the Dragons, they'll give them more confidence, and then they get the bye, another 2 points. And then if results go their way, they can slowly climb up that ladder And look, I'm not saying that they'll make the top 8, but you just never know. Look at the Panthers; they were stone motherless last, and they just get those wins here and there, and they find themselves in 8th spot on the ladder at the moment. So it can happen. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate the support. Once again, you'll find it on Apple and Spotify. Please give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram if you are not already following me there. I hope you really enjoy the content that I provide to you. I love doing it for you. So thank you for all the support. The Para Cave Podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go Para! Alan, how you going, mate? Are you a Para Cave podcast listener?
I am, bro. It's a great podcast. Everyone tune in.
Go Para.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. See you next time.